Y'all, this is your girl Sonja, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Today I have with me former Portland Trailblazer, CEO of Audie Norris Basketball Academy, and NBA ambassador, Mr. Audie Norris, aka Atomic Dog. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you so much. So, during my research, I read that Klay Thompson's father, Michael Thompson, who was your teammate at Portland, gave you that nickname because of your monstrous dunks. Do you still live up to that nickname today?
Absolutely, girl. I dunk every chance I can get.
I love it. Well, whenever you...
I'll win.
That's great. So, speaking of Klay, he tore his ACL a few weeks ago. So I'm praying a speedy recovery for him and that he mends well. He has a lot of basketball left in him. So.
Oh, no question. I feel the same way. It was unfortunate for him to be out. Now it's going to be second year. He was out last year. He's going to be out another year. So, but hey, that's the breaks of the game. You know.
Yeah.
Some players get away from this game injury free, and others have to suffer a little bit.
I really you're right. It's the nature of the beast. So we will see, but I wish him well and hope to see him on the court soon.
Absolutely.
So Audie, before we get started, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. I know you're living in Spain. You've been there for a while. So just, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. What you've been doing.
Yeah, I'm from Jackson, of course, Jackson, Mississippi. Grew up in Washington, D.C. My older brother was a basketball player as well. Well, all of my brothers were basketball players, Sylvester, Paul, and David. And, it just became a family tradition.
Right.
We all went to Jim Hill High School, and Sylvester and I were the only two that went to Jackson State. And, we had some really good coaches when we were young. My high school coach, Coach Charles Bingham, was a really, really good coach. He coached Sylvester as well. And when Sylvester was a senior at Jim Hill, he signed a letter of intent with Jackson State and played there. And when I became a senior at Jim Hill, that was my opportunity to play with my older brother, who was my mentor, he was my best friend, everything, he's the guy I looked up to. So I really wanted to play with him at Jackson State. So that was my main reason for going to Jackson State, just to play with my brother.
Wow. And you and Sylvester, you both, Sylvester went pro as well, correct?
Yes. Jackson State has put a lot of players in the professional basketball league in NBA, and my brother was one of them. Actually, how it happened, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the NBA scouts were actually scouting Purvis Short when they were looking at videos. Purvis Short, they saw my brother in the film, and then the scouts became interested in him, and then San Antonio Spurs drafted him. My brother went hardship. Hardship is when NBA can draft a player before he graduates college. So he forego his senior year of college and went to San Antonio Spurs. So my dream of playing with my brother didn't happen. I didn't get to play with him.
Wow.
But I stayed at Jackson State in a way. A lot of schools tried to lure me away from Jackson State, but I stayed. And I stayed because of my conversations I had with Coach Covington.
Wow.
And one of the main things he told me was that I would be a big fish in a small pond, and if you can play here and you make a name for yourself, you don't have to be in a big school. They'll come find you, and that stuck with me. And I patterned my game with that philosophy, being a big fish in a small pond.
And, it's interesting that you said that, because that was what, late 70s, early 80s. And a lot of people think, oh, if you go to Jackson State or a smaller, SWAC school, you won't be noticed. And that was back then. Walter Payton was noticed. Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley, Steve McNair, Lindsey Hunter. So many people were noticed at a small SWAC school. And if you know what you're doing, if you playing, if you balling, they're going to come and find you. And so you guys were balling, and it's I'm glad Coach told you that. But speaking of Coach, as you know, we have lost another JSU legend within weeks from one another. First, legendary football coach W.C. Gordon, and now legendary men's basketball coach Paul Covington. Coach Covington was JSU men's basketball coach for 19 years with more wins than any JSU coach. He also became JSU athletics director and finally retired in 1999. Coach Covington is in Jackson State's Athletic Hall of Fame, the SWAC Hall of Fame, and the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. He was 86 years old. And, I lived across the street from Coach, and his daughter was Vivian, a.k.a. Cuddles. We call her Cuddles. We were best friends growing up, and when I've heard the news, I instantly saw us running through his house. We're running through their house and laughing, and, he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, and he y'all calm down for you hurt yourselves, or he was smiling at us. But I know we were so tall and lanky and goofy, he probably was like, I wonder if they're going to play basketball, but neither one of us did. But it was an honor to just, know him. At that time, I didn't realize how amazing he was. After researching and reading stuff on him in the last week, I'm like, wow. I was a DePaul Blue Demon fan growing up, Ray Myers era, and I was a big fan of that team, and so I really focused on them more so than I would go to the games with Coach and Vivian, but it wasn't clicking. I was with greatness and didn't even know it. So, but, so Audie, you played center for Coach Covington at JSU. During your time there, you were named Freshman of the Year and was a 2-time league MVP. Your last season at JSU, you left on a high with the SWAC championship. How was Coach Covington as a leader, as a mentor, and as a friend?
Well, to back up a little bit, I just want to send my condolences to Coach Gordon and his family. I knew Coach Gordon personally.
Yes.
He actually tried to get me on the football field a couple times.
Really? Could you play football?
Yeah. I played football in high school, and he knew that.
Oh, wow.
And, not in high school. I take that back. Not in high school. I played in junior high. And was a really good player. And, a lot of the coaches from Jackson State, even during that time, were interested in my football talent. But I got hit so hard one game when I was playing football in junior high, man. When I got hit, I left the field and never looked back. No, this ain't for me, man. I'm sick of basketball. But, just my condolences to his family. I knew both his sons, Craig and Robin, and we all kind of grew up together. And, Coach Gordon was definitely a legend in the football game at Jackson State. And, JSU family definitely lost a great member of the family.
Yes.
And now as far as, let me see if I can remember your question again about Coach.
I was just asking, how was he as a leader, as a mentor, and as a friend?
Man, let me tell you, when I had a lot of schools recruited me when I finished my senior year of high school at Jim Hill. I had University of Georgia, LSU, University of Troy, Kansas State, Pepperdine, Arkansas, Auburn, just to name a few. And, I was kind of torn between LSU and University of Troy and Jackson State. Those are my 3 finalists for choosing the school that I wanted to go to. But my desire to play with my brother outweighed all of those, both of those other schools.
Wow.
If I hadn't gone to Jackson State, it would have been LSU, just so you know.
Okay.
Man, I tell you, Coach Covington came into my parents' living room, and I don't know. Well, a lot of people that know this. Coach Covington was very articulate, very well versed in the game of basketball and communicating with the parents of potential recruits. And I tell you, he's always, because my brother went to JSU, was on the team. Coach has always been a supporter of mine. He always wanted me to come and play for him. And he told me many times, even when I was in the 11th grade, 10th grade, because I was always around practice, watching my brother practice. So it was almost kind of a no-brainer that that's where I was going to go, because my brother and I were so close. But I tell you, when he came into the living room and talked to my parents, man, he convinced us that, it wasn't about Sylvester, my older brother. It was about what, he could provide for me as a student athlete coming into the program.
Wow.
And, he sold me on definitely coming there playing with my brother. Coach had a gift for gab. He could talk to anybody on any level. So that was one of the things I always liked. But before I even signed with Jackson State, man, I used to sit in the office and listen to his stories. He was a great storyteller, and he told stories. I mean, like nobody I've ever heard before about basketball and things he experienced, and he was just great to listen to. Very, like I said, he had that radio, TV voice, somebody that you can just listen to all the time, and
right.
And I did, and his understanding of the game and understanding who I was as a young student athlete, and he really got behind me and showed me how to play the game of basketball and how to be a good upstanding citizen in the community. And man, I tell you, I got so many good memories about Coach Covington. I was really, really sad to hear of his passing. Yeah. But at the same time, I called Coach about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, because he'd been on my mind, and I was just thinking about him. I knew he was up in age, and I just wanted to hear his voice and see how he was doing. So I did call him, and I talked to Miss Covington, Peaches as he called her.
Right. Yep.
And I talked to her, and I talked to him as well. And, he didn't sound good at that time, man. But my heart was really heavy listening to him. He didn't sound like my coach that I knew, with that energy and that vigor in his voice. And I knew he was in a serious state at that time. But he did recognize me when we were talking, and thanked me for calling him and thinking about him. So I'm glad I got a chance to speak with him before he passed.
I'm so glad too. I'm really thankful for that. You mentioned, I read one of your posts the other day. You put a post up about Coach, and you talked about the stories, and you said some people thought they were lies. But why did they call him back? I never knew that name for him.
Man, his whole family was like a cartoon or something. He was Bat, his wife was Peaches, Vivian was Cuddles.
What I forget what he used to call Paul Jr.
He called him Paul Jr.
Okay.
I think that's what he called him. I don't remember a nickname for Paul Jr. or Sherry.
Yeah, I don't remember one for Sherry either.
Sherry had one either.
Mm-mm.
But no, it was. I don't know where it came from. I don't remember the story where it came from. But it was kind of comical, and listen to call his family Peaches bad
and cuddles.
And cuddles. Yeah.
So
he was so funny.
Yeah, I remember, and I guess, again, I was a little girl, so I remember him having company. His friends would be over there, they'd be laughing and talking, and I didn't know what they were talking about, but he was definitely like telling stories and stuff, and they would be laughing, and, but he was a fun man. You didn't really see that on the court, but he seemed very, very fun.
Oh, we seen it on the court.
You did?
I tell you, in practice. Oh, heck yeah! I'll tell you the story. The week we played Alcorn, this was the week that I broke the backboard at Alcorn.
Oh, wow, I remember.
During that week in practice, I broke another backboard in practice that week leading up to the game. And man, when Coach get happy, he's on another level, man. When I broke the backboard in practice that day, man, he was hitting his coaching staff. He was hitting them in the chest with his fist. He was going around hitting people in the chest. Like, yeah, we're gonna beat these about this weekend. That's what I'm talking about. Then he told me after practice, he said, Audie, you better not break a damn backboard during the game. If you do, I'm going to send your daddy the bill.
Wow.
And when I broke the backboard in the game, and I remember distinctly after the game, he said, your dad's getting his bill, but I ain't paying for no damn rent.
So did they try to get JSU to pay for that? If you remember?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. That was just his humor,
Yeah.
So it was funny.
So what was his strategy to get the team to respond to him as coach? He had a career record of 338 wins, 195 losses, 6 SWAC championships, 5-time SWAC Coach of the Year, 6 postseason tournament appearances, and won 64 of his first 81 games as head coach. You guys had to love him. It had to be more than just X's and O's. How did he motivate you all?
And that's it. He was a great motivator. When I say Coach had a gift for gab, he knew how to speak and communicate with his players. He knew each player's quirks and likes and dislikes, so he knew how to get the best out of his players. And what a lot of people don't understand either, they talk about good players in today's game, coming to HBCUs now. Coach recruited some of the top players in the country back being at Jackson State at HBCU. Purvis Short, Al Smith, Eugene Short, Sylvester Norris, Audie Norris, Henry Ward, and the list goes on. Kenny O'Banner. He had some of the top blue chip players in the state of Mississippi and around the country to play for him at Jackson State University. So, talent-wise, he had the talent to have that type of professional record as a coach, and he had the mental capacity to, like I said, communicate with those level of players to get them to play and play as a team. So we went to, like I said, he recruited top quality players at an HBCU in the 70s and 80s when, those type of players nowadays are going to the Kentuckys or Louisville's or North Carolina's or, Kansas. They're going to those schools. But Coach got those players that you can't get today.
That's true. You're right. And, it's just, with everything that has happened this year, with the Black Lives Matter movement and a lot of, stuff that's been going on regarding black athletes, you're seeing a lot of them turning back to HBCUs, and I'm so thankful for that. That's been a dream of mine, seeing top players, 4-star and 5-star, come back to HBCU schools. I mean, it's just, and it's happening. And, with Coach Prime at JSU, we just got another recruit. He's a transfer from Florida yesterday, I believe, from FSU. And,
okay.
They're coming. They're, coming back to the SWAC, and I'm excited about it, because even the overflow from people trying to come to school because of Coach Prime, it'll spill over into the other SWAC schools or HBC schools. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Somebody ringing my doorbell.
No, you're fine.
And that's that's a good thing for Jackson State and the SWAC, and because those players that are trying to come to HBCUs now, they should have the same mentality I had when I was at Jackson State. Being a big fish in a small pond.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. I mean, look at the NBA now. It's an international game. You got players that in the NBA you ain't never heard of before playing in countries you ain't never heard of before. If you can play, they will find you. You don't have to go to Kentucky or North Carolina or Kansas to be seen. If you got talent, if you got game, you can play anywhere. But you give yourself a better chance playing at an HBCU if you're a high-level player. You're going to play, you're going to have the minutes that you ordinarily wouldn't get if you're playing at one of those bigger schools.
Right.
And the exposure would be unbelievable, because now you're the man. You're the man on campus. I was the man on campus. Coaches, NBA scouts came from all over to see me play. One of the things that, playing with my brother, not at Jackson State, but playing with him in the summer and playing with him and George Gervin and Larry Keenan and James Silas and those guys.
Wow.
The Spurs during the summer was I got to measure myself against pro players before I became a pro myself, and I realized what I needed to do to set myself apart from, other players. And being an aggressive defender and a rebounder was my niche. That was my niche. I got in foul trouble a lot when I played because of my aggressive play. But one thing that Coach went to bat for me every game with the referee. He was arguing with the referees more about how they was calling fouls against me, because they said I was so much bigger and physical than everybody else. And, and that was his thing. He said, he used to tell me, because I used to get so frustrated with the way the referees called the game. And he called me in his office one day and told me, hey, stop complaining and stop arguing with the referee. That's my job. Let me take care of it. You just go out there and play. Don't change nothing about your game, but understand how the referees are calling the game and still be aggressive playing the way you play. And that's what I did. And that's what he did. He went in, every game, and you can see him in the referee's ear, and, thanks to him, that's how I really learned how to play the game and play the referees at the same time, because I got that experience from Jackson State, and it carried over to my career as a professional player.
That's awesome. So before the scouts started coming, did he always feel like you would go pro?
Yeah, he did. He told me if I did the things that he believed I could do, that pro scouts would come. Listen, I don't know if you look back over Jackson State history, but in Mississippi, Jackson State had put more pro players in the NBA than any university in the state of Mississippi. You can go back and look at the history. You can look at Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Southern Miss, Alcorn Valley. Jackson State put more pro players in the NBA than any school in Mississippi.
And football. I think.
And football.
Yeah.
Exactly. And football. So the scouts already knew that talent was at Jackson State. They were just always waiting for that special talent to pop up under Coach Covington watch, and they would be there. And that's what he told me. He said, "Look, the NBA is they're you ain't got to worry about them. If you go out here and do this, X, Y, and Z, the NBA will be in the stands." And so that's why I focused on, because everybody wants to score the basketball. I could score the basketball. That wasn't my main focus. My main focus was being the number one rebounder in the country and being a strong defender and being a great passer. Now, I accomplished those things at Jackson State. I started out being the number one rebounder in the country, but because of my aggressive play and all the fouls that I used to get, I was a lot of times I was on the bench in the first quarter, so it brought my rebounding average down. You know, but I still averaged 12, 13 rebounds a game my senior year. But before all that, I was averaging 15, 16 rebounds a game. But and it was because the confidence Coach Covington gave me as a player, man. He always kept my confidence high, and that was something that I always carried with me as a pro player.
That's awesome. So, Audie, when you went second round in the NBA draft, was Coach one of the first persons that you reached out to let him know?
Absolutely.
What was that conversation like? Or do you remember?
I don't remember exactly how that conversation went, but I know he told me, we talked because I went to his office. I know I was supposed to have been drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round.
Okay.
When my senior year at Jackson State, I had a stress fracture in my lower right leg, but it wasn't diagnosed until I got to Portland. But my leg was hurting me really, really bad all through, not midway through my senior year. Mm-hmm. I was literally playing on one leg, but it wasn't highly publicized that I had the injury, and it was a really, really, really hard year for me personally, playing in pain every day, and because a lot of days, some days I wouldn't practice because of it, but when I played the games, and they treated me as best they could under those circumstances. And after my senior year, when my senior year was over, I took some time off to let my leg heal. But then Coach called me in the office and told me I was invited to a Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. And I hadn't practiced or anything because I was just letting my injury heal. Mm-hmm. But, I was like, Coach, man, I hadn't practiced. I hadn't done anything, man. I've just been trying to let my leg heal, lifting weights or whatever, but I wasn't playing any basketball or running. He was like, look, if you want to make an impact and build your stock up, you need to go to this tournament and play. He said, look, you're better than over half those guys in that going to be in the tournament. So just go there and play best you can, and you're going to be fine. So I went and I played. And I still have the stat sheet to this day. The first game I played, I'm playing against guys that played at Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas, Wichita State, Auburn, LSU, all these high major universities. My first game, I had 20 points and 18 rebounds, playing just off of pure adrenaline.
Wow.
But my team lost. So if you play in the Portsmouth tournament, you play well, but your team lose, and so your time is done unless another team pick you up, play on their team. So I played well enough, another team picked me up. I played on that team, and that second game I played, and I only played 2 games there. The second game I played, had 20 points and 14 rebounds. So my stock was rising really, really fast. Not to mention that they knew I'd broken the backboard, Jack Spade, blah, blah. So they knew of me, but they didn't know how I would fare against other high major players from other universities.
Right.
So once they saw what I did in Portsmouth, from there I got invited to Hawaii to the Aloha Classic out there, and all the while, mind you, my leg is killing me. I'm playing on one leg, basically. So I play out in Hawaii, play well out there. There weren't games where they keep stats or whatever, but there were games where you could definitely impact your standing as far as getting drafted. Sorry. So even on the one leg, I continued to improve my stock, so to speak, and from there, from Hawaii, we went to the Chicago pre-draft camp. This was the first year the NBA ever had their pre-draft camp, was in Chicago. So from when I got to Chicago, played over there, still playing on one leg and still only playing games. No, I'm not doing any extra training or anything. Just off of pure adrenaline and desire to have my name called during the NBA.
Yes.
So I played a couple games in Chicago, and then, man, by that time I'm dragging his leg. I'm dragging, but I'm still trying to be effective, man. Don Nelson was the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks at the time, came to me and told me, hey, look, you don't need to play no more. We already know how tough you are, how you want this, and we see the potential that you could bring to the team in the NBA. We're really considering drafting you, and we want to take you and get you checked out. And so they took me out of the Chicago camp, sent me to New York to get my leg checked out with a doctor there. They couldn't find they couldn't find anything wrong with my leg. They did all kind of exams, but it was still hurting. It hurting. So, come draft night, I'm thinking I'm going to Milwaukee because they had the last pick in the first round. So when that round went by, man, I was like, oh shit, I don't know what's going to happen now. Excuse my French. And we was at my house at the time, so we had a draft party at my house. All my teammates and family were there. I didn't go to New York at the time because, it just didn't happen that way or whatever.
Right.
So after the first round went by, man, I left the house and went up to this little park near my house where up there crying like a baby. Like, oh man, ain't nobody gonna take me to draft now, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm sitting there boo-hooing by myself.
Aww.
And then all of a sudden, I hear noise coming up the street, and I am not really hearing them. They were saying, you got drafted up corner, but me, it's not registered. It's not registered to me. I'm like, I just thought they would just come in to check on me, see how I was doing. He's like, no, you got drafted by Paul in the second round. Crying even more at that time, okay? But here's the funny part. when I went back to Chicago from New York, from Milwaukee, checking me out, at the end of that pre-draft camp, all the coaches, gathered their teams up and they, give them a little exit.
Are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Okay, yeah, somebody tried to call me. All the coaches, the NBA coaches that was, handling our teams during the pre-draft camp was, giving us the exit speech and talking to us. And the coach that was talking to my group that day was Jack Ramsey. And Jack Ramsey was the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. So, I had no connection with Jack Ramsey or whatever other than at one moment during his speech, he was like, some of you have raised your style tremendously here. Some of you playing hurt. That's what it's going to take to be an NBA player. And he's looking at me the whole time. But me, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm thinking, I'm hurt. Ain't nobody going to take me because of my injury, blah, blah, blah. So when I heard Portland drafted me at my draft party, man, I mean, it was doubly great for me because I reflected back to that one moment when he was speaking and looking at me, and it was another happy moment in my draft experience, being drafted by Portland and Jack Ramsey.
Wow. That is an amazing story because, I'm sure a lot of people did not know that story, only people that were close to you. And, I'm sure your perseverance and just kept, you kept pushing. It made a difference in you being drafted. It really did. And, what Coach told you, go get the exposure. You still need to go. I know you hurt, but, just do what you need to do.
Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely listened to him. He knew what he was talking about. And, at that point, I had no other options but to do it. I mean, if I couldn't go at all, it would have been something different. But I had played on it that long for my senior year, and I said, a couple more weeks is not gonna kill me. So
right. Awesome.
But I wanted it so bad, and his support and his positive energy, helped me get through all of that.
That's awesome. So, Audie, you have years of coaching experience. What are some of the things you learned from Coach Covington that you have taught your players?
Well, one of the main things is listen to him. Coach Covington was the type of coach that he would listen to you. I mean, he won't do everything that you suggest, but he would listen to what you have to say, and you have to listen to your players to really understand them. And that's when I wasn't even thinking about coaching at the time, but I knew then that you had to be a type of father figure for the players that you're coaching, and because all players come with different type of story, different type of baggage to your team,
right?
And you have to be able to communicate with those players on their level when you're training them, and that was the one thing that, man, he was really good at, was connecting with players, not from a basketball standpoint, but on the personal standpoint, and tapping into those players mentally, figuring out what made them tick, what their issues were outside of basketball, because I remember him saying, a lot of times the problem with players is not what goes on the court, it's what goes on outside of the game.
That's true.
Affects the player.
That's true.
So, yeah, he had a knack for being able to reach players on that level. As far as the game goes, man, it was he was more like an extension of my high school coach, Coach Bingham. Coach Bingham, always told me, and that's why I really got a lot of training from my high school coach. He was like, if you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it or repeat it again. So get it right. And that has always stuck with me and stick with me to this day. Is, the things I tell my players to this day. hey, pay attention, learn how to do it, and do it right. Don't half-ass do it, and you will develop a habit of being successful at what you do. So, those things stuck with me. I learned those things from those coaches. They always impacted my life. Even after I left Jackson State with Pullman and when things weren't going good, I would always reflect back to some of the conversations I had with Coach Covington and Coach Bingham, and those things would, get me through whatever I was going through at the time, because it was just it was pure motivation for me.
Wow, that's great advice. So, what is one of the greatest lessons Coach Covington taught you, and is helped you become the man you are today?
Listen, be true to yourself and don't cheat the game. Be true to yourself, don't cheat the game, and you're going to always find success. And I apply that to what I've done as a professional player and as a coach and as a person. I would always tell my players, and this is what they Coach Covington, and this is where I got this thing from. Coach Covington would say, "Hey, I ain't gonna never lie to you about basketball." He said, "But I will lie to you and tell you that your girlfriend is pretty, even if she's not pretty. I'm gonna tell you she's pretty, but I ain't gonna lie to you about basketball. I'm gonna tell you the truth." And at that time, man, it was like, that is the funniest shit I ever heard.
Oh my God.
But it was true. He never lied to me about the game. I ain't never had no other girlfriend.
So he didn't have a reason to lie.
No, he didn't have a reason to lie.
Well, your wife is beautiful, so you've done well.
Thank you. But it was so funny that his analysis, the way he looked at things, man.
Wow, that's awesome.
He would go that time, Coach. He would always walk around. He had a cigar in his mouth. Back in the day, he always walked around with a cigar in his mouth, even during practice.
So, Audie, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And when you and your wife, I don't know how often you come back to the States, but if y'all come back, let me know. I would love to meet you, because you're a legend in Mississippi. You're a legend in Spain. You're a legend, period. But you definitely hometown. We appreciate you. I was a little girl, but I remember the story about breaking up the board, and I remember all of that. But I would definitely love to meet you guys, and I would like to cook for y'all.
Oh man, well you said the magic word.
Get you some Mississippi food, since y'all don't celebrate Thanksgiving. So we doing it up. We do it up here.
Well, listen, I haven't been back to Jackson. I guess it's probably in about 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause my kids don't live in Jackson anymore. My parents are deceased, and my last living relative, my uncle, passed away maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I still got friends there, of course, and but yeah, I haven't been back there in about 5 years. I do plan on coming back there when this coronavirus thing is done and we'll be able to travel.
Yeah.
But one other tidbit that you might want to think about is I got drafted in 1982 by Portland Trail Blazers, 37th pick in the second round. The next player from Jackson State to get drafted was in 1992. You know who that was?
Lindsey Hunter.
Lindsey Hunter. Yeah, Lindsey Hunter. So I think I may have been the last player, the NBA player under Coach Covington to play in the NBA.
Wow, and that was a 10-year span from 82 to 92. Yeah, Lindsey and I, we're very good friends. We were in high school at the same time, and we were at Jackson State at the same time. So I had him on the show a couple of months ago, but he's head coach at Valley now. And I'm sorry.
Yes, and I'm really happy for him. So congratulations to Lady Hunter for being head coach at Valley. I know he's going to bring a lot of professionalism to Valley and to his players.
Yeah, they're on the road now. So I'm wishing Valley well until they play Jackson State. So other than that, but Audie, thank you so much for joining me today. My sincere condolences to Mrs. Covington, to his children, Cheryl, Paul Jr., Vivian, a.k.a. Cuddles, to you and to the rest of the JSU family. You will be missed, Coach, and thank you so much for treating me like I was your own. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Coach. I did speak to Vivian yesterday. I called, finally got through. Mm-hmm. I normally call. When Ms. Covington didn't answer the phone because my number comes up really, really strange. Right. And she don't answer strange numbers. So Cuddles answered the phone. She was there. She happened to be at the house at the time. She answered the phone. I did speak to her yesterday to give my condolences to, her and the family, Paul Jr. Paul Jr. was on the team when I was at Jackson State also. So I know the family very, very well. And it was heartbreaking for all of us to lose another JSU Tiger family member. Yeah, that's true. And, 2020 has been something else. But that is life. And, it's just we have to just continue to, keep moving forward. I'm actually going to I'm going to the wake on tomorrow, but I'm going to try to go by the house. I know it's COVID, so can't really go visit, but at least just, so me and Viv can talk. She can come outside for a minute, and so we'll see. But awesome. Well, please convey my condolences to the family, and I know that I'm thinking about them, okay?
I will do. I absolutely will. Thank you.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What stamps? I know some stamps in Jackson. What stamps are you related to?
That's my family, Stamps Burgers, Algernon, Phil, Tim. They're younger, but you probably know Algernon Stamps. Of course, the father, Algernon Sr.
Right.
Susan, I think Susan didn't she go to Jamil?
Yeah.
Susan Stamps, those are my cousins. Glenn Stamps is my brother. He was your age. He, we're Rams. We're a Provine Ram family. But we love Jim Hill.
I don't hold it against you.
No,
In fact, my point guard that passed me the ball when I broke the back was Darian Hilliard. He's from Provine.
Yeah, I know Hilliard. He used to live, we all lived on Pecan Boulevard. So, yeah. Exactly. My parents went to Jim Hill, so there's some love, and I went to Blackburn, so I'm a Jaguar, But I'm pretty much all the Stamps, Larry Stamps, who was two Larry Stamps, my first cousin, and then there's another Larry Stamps, the attorney. And
right, which one was out in California?
It's a lot of us going on.
I know.
Yeah, so.
But the best thing was them doggone Stamp Burgers, girl.
That's why I'm trying to tell you, we can cook. That's why when y'all come, we gonna hook y'all up.
Oh my God.
So yeah, my brother is a chef, so we'll definitely make sure you get a good home cooked meal. And so just let me know.
I will definitely let you know whenever we come back to Mississippi, okay?
Okay, and you guys stay safe, during this pandemic, and you got a birthday coming up, so happy early birthday.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, it'll be my 60th birthday, people.
Awesome. And you're looking good. I saw you didn't drop some of that weight. I was like, look at Audie.
Oh, man, I feel fantastic.
That's a blessing, yeah. So, well, that is great. Well, guys, that's my show for today. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you for having me on your show and much success to you.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to talk, Nicole?
I absolutely will. Thank you. Well, guys, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonja with She Say Sports, and I'll see you on the radio.